Here's my heart, Lord. Speak what is true. Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart, Lord. Speak what is true. I am found, I am yours, I am loved, I'm made pure, I have life, I can breathe, I am healed, I am free. Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart, Lord. Speak what is true, 'cause I am found, I am yours, I am loved, I'm made pure, I have life, I can breathe, I am healed, I am free. You are strong, you are sure, you are light, you endure, you are good, always true. You are light, breaking our voices and sing. Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart, Lord. Speak life. Here's my life, Lord. Here's my life, Lord. Here's my life, Lord. See what is true. So I'll take a deep, unified breath together. Hands on your heart. Feeling this moment of connection as we remember the words to the song, offering our hearts, offering our life to the way of sacred service. Here's my heart. Here's my heart. Here's my life. Allowing ourselves to be in this moment, releasing the day, releasing our fears, releasing our judgments, releasing our concerns, just being completely centered in this moment of unified breath, all of us together, breathing in this opportunity to be a blessing, to receive blessings and to be a blessing, to receive blessings and to be a blessing, receiving the blessings that are shown to us through the very breath that we breathe, through our daily lives and our interactions with others. Through the beauty of the full moon and the ocean. Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart. Waking up every day and asking, how can I be of service today? How can I perform miracles today? Tell me where to go, what to do, what to say, and to whom. If we open our hearts and we open our lives to that direction, then we remember how blessed we are, how miraculous we are, how blessed our brothers and sisters are, how miraculous it is that we have the opportunity to interact with one another, even if it's just a fleeting moment. And we get to look into the eyes of our brothers and sisters, those we love, those we don't. People we admire, people we judge. Everyone and everything is a blessing, an opportunity to be a blessing. Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart. Use me in your service. Use my voice. Use my heart. Let me be a good steward of your grace so that I represent you. That what I do and how I do it is a testimony to love and compassion and kindness. Let that be our way as we open our hearts to guidance and to direction, allowing mercy to penetrate our hearts so that we can extend mercy out. Here's my heart. We imagine the bright light of the moon being directly above us and entering into our crown chakra, which reminds us of our unity with one another, into our third eye, which opens us up to guidance and wisdom, into our throat, which reminds us to speak words of kindness, and into our hearts. Let that light settle into our hearts, so that our hearts expand. Feel the expansion in your chest. Take a deep breath in. And exhale into the universe. Your willingness to be a blessing to one another. And together we come into this moment right here, right now. And we say, blessed be. Blessed be this moment. Blessed be our brothers and sisters. Blessed be this day, this evening, this Holy Thursday. Happy, holy, sacred Thursday. This is a day when we come together as a sacred spiritual community to remind ourselves and each other that we're here to just do better and be better, to rise higher, pray harder, love steadily, forgive readily, in all circumstances. That's our goal. And at the end of the day, we may not have met our goal. So we gently move into the next day with the intention to wake up and ask, how can I be of service today? How can I do my best with whomever I encounter? That's our goal. And the reason we do that is to find deep inner peace with the circumstances of our lives. To find a way toward kindness and compassion and forgiveness of ourselves and others. So let's see how we're doing. Let's just do that one day at a time. We're at the end of January 2022. Unbelievable how it's just like zipping quickly. Today is actually, even though it's only the 20th, it's the last live stream of the month. We will not be live streaming next Thursday. So the next time we meet for Miracles with a Twist will be February 6th. Is it the 6th? No, February 3rd. The first Thursday in February 3rd. So we'll be back here at that time. Not next Thursday, the following Thursday. So I wanted to review a little bit of what occurred this week. On Monday, we had the full moon service out at the beach, at Lauderdale by the Sea. And it was the full wolf moon under Cancer moon. I guess still we're under Capricorn sky. And we were talking about all these different influences of energies that are occurring. And whether or not you believe in it, it just so happens that there's 3 planets in retrograde, and everybody's been talking, even tonight, we're talking about how everybody's sort of like a little emotional, a little tender in our feelings, a little reactive and things. And when we were under the moon, we were talking about what would it be like, wolves move in packs, but when you see pictures, a lot of times you see the picture of that one wolf howling under the moon. And we said, what would it be like to just understand that we have this individual sacred opportunity and responsibility to go within and see what our true absolute willingness is to make whatever incremental changes we need to make within ourselves so that we can rise higher and meet our spiritual goals. So we had this image of being under the moon, being under the moon and being that howling wolf and being a lone wolf out there and taking on the responsibility of being truly rigorously honest within ourselves, inner reflective, inner inquiry, to be able to look at ourselves and say, there's a thing or two that I still hold on to. We do this monthly release ceremony, a cleansing ceremony, and we talk about what is it that we need to release, something that is a block to love, a block to forgiveness, a block to self-care, self-love, compassion for others. What is that block? And so we were all doing our own inner reflection, having a meditation around it, making this image of ourselves being under that bright reminder of life, that bright light that reminds us of the light source that is in us and comes through us so that we can be a light source to others. So then when we were done with our meditation, we did our cleansing ceremony, and we had a discussion. We started having some real honest conversation around what is it that keeps us in our judgment, in our resentment, in our anger. Why is it so hard at times to truly do the deeper, more difficult work of forgiveness? Not the work of saying that painful, difficult circumstances were justified. No, we're talking about what it takes to do the forgiveness work within ourselves so that we can find peace regardless of those difficult, painful circumstances. And someone said something very interesting. She said, I don't know if I'm quoting her directly, but she said something like, those resentments are like lifetime companions. I thought, isn't that interesting? It's like, even if it was 20, 30 years ago, there's something that we might have been holding on to, some story, some reason why we are in a place that is less of a pleasant memory than we would have been had we not had that circumstance. And so we talked about that. You know, what's it like to carry this lifelong companion? And so think of it that way. You know, it's this lifelong companion, but you've been carrying it. You've been carrying, you know, this, whoever it was, whatever it was, that no longer actually exists in the present moment, but you're carrying it. You're carrying it like this heavy weight. And you're going through your adult life with this lifelong companion. And so part of our release work and part of our forgiveness work is to lighten up our own load. So we're not carrying the past with us. It may be that we still have some residual effects, but our ultimate goal is to find peace within and to find it with making these little perception changes within our own minds. Now, A Course in Miracles is a system of deconstructing the ego's perception. We have thought systems that are based in fear. We have thought systems that are based in the past. So when I thought about this heavy load, this companion that we're carrying around, and many of us can probably have a name to that companion. Maybe 2 names, maybe 3 names. Somehow we carry this around. I found this reference in The Disappearance of the Universe by Gary Renard. So of course, when I'm asking these questions, it's just amazing how Spirit guides me to something that I can share with you guys. So here is, for those of you who don't know, Disappearance of the Universe is a conversation. It's a book of conversation between these ascended masters and Gary Renard. So here they say, something you should always try to remember is that by keeping yourself looking outside of yourself, your ego is preventing you from looking at its thought system. The ego is preventing us from looking at its logic. As long as I'm caught up in the past, I'm caught up in my upset, I'm not even looking at why that exists or why that particular way of thinking has a hold on me. How do I deconstruct it? How do I find peace if I'm going to continue engaging with this particular type of thinking? As we have already said, A Course in Miracles teaches that illusions are protected by not looking at them. So we're going to take you on a brief look at the nature of the ego's thought system. Not to scare you, but just so you'll understand that although it may be ugly, it is not you. The way to get this is by looking at it with the Holy Spirit, with our higher holy self. The ego doesn't want you to look at it. The ego is afraid of your power to choose against it. The ego is afraid of your power to choose against it. Imagine, the power of our minds are incredible. We have incredible powers of creation. We know that from The Secret and just what was the law of the universe, the law of cause and effect. The ways that we know that the mind is powerful. We were just talking about Joe Dispenza earlier. Who was talking about Joe? Somebody, Lisa Ball. We were talking about how all these quantum physics teachers are helping us to understand the power of our minds to create. So we also have the power to disengage from what we've created. That if we have created a thought system that has caused us pain, that has put us seeped in negative thinking, harmful thinking, thinking that has kept us from feeling a lighter load, then we have this opportunity to look at it. That's all the Course is asking us to do. Just look at it. Look at it. See, is it serving you? Do you really want that companion? Do you really want that lifelong companion of yesterday's hurt? So we have this opportunity to just think about it and make some decisions. We always have the decision, opportunity to decide at any given time, where do I want to put the energy of my thinking, of my mind? Do I want to put it toward the past, or do I want to put it toward the healing? We have things that that we know still need to be healed within us. Emotional healing, physical healing, spiritual healing. So it's just a constant reminder every day when we wake up that we can spend the day sort of mindless, just letting things happen and being reactive to them, or making a decision before we even get out there that I'm going to pay attention to my reactivity. I'm going to pay attention to where my mind goes so that I can be ahead of it, that I can step ahead and decide for myself whether or not I'm going to let the ego control me or I'm going to let my higher holy self control me. Not even control me, guide me. Let my higher holy self guide me. Tell me where to go, tell me what to do, tell me what to say and to whom. So as I was thinking about all that, I was thinking about the discussion we had. I was thinking about what Gary Renard's guidance was. And one of the things that occurred to me is that in the, 6 years now that we've been doing this, we have never touched the teacher's manual. We've done the text, we've done the workbook. And then again, and again, back to the workbook mostly. Last year we focused a lot on the text. We've never done the teacher's manual. So since the course and these messages are telling me to look within, I have to look within. Like, why am I so resistant? Why have I been so resistant to do the teacher's manual? So I have confession. My confession is that I never really felt as though I could be teaching the teacher's manual. I feel like I can facilitate our discussions. But am I a teacher of God? The Course in Miracles says we are all teachers of God. We are all teachers of God. But to teach the teacher's manual means that I had to think in terms of living up to the expectations that I have put on myself. And there are times when I have not met my own expectations. There are certain areas of life where we still need to do better. And so as long as I wasn't meeting my own expectations, I felt like I couldn't teach from the teacher's manual. I had a lot of guilt about it, and I kept resisting it. And then I thought, well, if I don't move into it, then I'm not practicing what I preach, because I'm holding on to my guilt or my fear or my lack of belief in my ability to rise to the occasion of actually being the teacher of A Course in Miracles, teacher of God, as they say. So I thought about Rumi's poem. It says, come, come, however you are, even if you've broken your vow 1,000 times. And I was like, no, Rumi, that does not apply to me. It doesn't apply to me, because I took vows. I took ministerial vows, and I've broken my vows. So like, I can't get on the chariot. But somehow, I've come to believe that if we all move into the teacher's manual together, then whatever resistance any one of us has, not just me, but what any resistance any one of us has to be able to rise up on a daily basis to say, I am a teacher of God, and the way I show up in the world is the way I teach of myself. Not that I'm standing on the street corner preaching, not even that I'm standing here on Thursday nights talking. It's that as I rise on a daily basis, I make a decision to be a teacher of God simply by my presence in the world, by my willingness, my practice, and hopefully my discipline. And in those days when I don't rise as high as I had hoped, instead of cowering in shame or feeling so guilty that I cannot take another step, instead I do what the Course tells us to do, which is to do the inner work of forgiveness and to remember that each one of us is being asked to move past our guilt, to move past whatever barrier we have put before us to do the work that we are asked to do. Last week we talked about the cameo, where Jesus was telling Helen, you are forgiven of all your hate. Even your hate is forgiven. Why? Because I need you. I need you to rise up. I need you to go out and do the world, to be a part of the Great Crusade. What is the Great Crusade? Is those of us who are willing to step into the light, to be a part of the light beam that beams out into the world, that moves out into the world with sacred service, with a willingness and a desire to be of service to others, even if it's just by your presence, even if it's just by a word of kindness. We can't do that if we're stuck behind our own self-judgment. and our own decision that we're not worthy. So we are forging ahead into the teacher's manual. All that, the whole big prefacing. There's a whole lot of prefacing into it. So, if you have the FIP edition, there is no other edition that has the teacher's manual. The Circle of Atonement does not have it. So it's in the section that follows the workbook for students. Who's my timekeeper today? I don't even know.
27.
Thank you. So, I have
I would
confessed.
just like to point out that I have one of my little magnet heart cross things
Yeah.
sectioning off the teacher's manual.
Oh.
Absolutely no idea why. Just want you to know that.
Premonition, spirit speaks.
Isn't that funny?
Spirit speaks. No, it's divine. It's divine order. I love that. So, yeah, so this is I am going to be a living example of what it means to move past, to open that door, to walk into that room that we've been resistant to walk into, that I've been resistant to walk into. The night before I was ordained, I was so sure that they'd made a mistake and that I can't get up tomorrow morning and put on those robes and walk through those hallways and let you ordain me. I can't do it. There's been a mistake. I was ready to sneak out, hop a train, then a bus, then another train, then another bus, whatever it would take to get me to the airport so I come home. And then my deans sort of looked at all of us. There were 68 of us. 68 of us. And they said, all you have to do tomorrow, when you're done, when the day is done, and you've been ordained, and you're taking that robe off, you're taking the symbol of your ordination off, and you're going through the world, all you have to do is testify to love through who you are, how you are in the world. That's all. You don't have to wear a robe or a collar. You don't have to wear anything on your head. I do when I teach and preach. But in your daily life, you don't have to do anything other than show up. Just show up. And so we go through our daily life and we show up. And some days we don't show up as well as we held a standard of ourselves. I don't think that's a complete sentence. But sometimes at the end of the day, we're not happy with how we showed up. But the Course is telling us you have to forgive yourself. You have to learn, make the shift within your consciousness, and move forward, because I need you to get up the next day and be part of the Great Crusade. I need for you to get up the next day and be loving, be compassionate, be kind. And if you can't be loving and compassionate and kind to yourself, how are you going to be loving and compassionate and kind to others? So let's do this. So we're all going to say, okay, let's do this. Here's my heart. Here's my heart. Got people raising their hand here. It's turning into a revival. Amen. All right, teacher's manual. I'm just going to do the introduction today. Any questions? No? This is what it says in the introduction of the teacher's manual, FIP edition, following the workbook. The role of teaching and learning is actually reversed in the thinking of the world. This reversal is characteristic. It seems as if the teacher and the learner are separate, the teacher giving something to the learner rather than to himself. The act of teaching is regarded as a special activity in which one engages only a relatively small portion of one's time. But this course, is emphasizing that to teach is to learn. What does it mean to teach? Just to be who you are, how you show up is teaching. And to teach is to learn. The teacher and the learner are the same. It emphasizes that teaching is a constant process. It goes on every moment of the day and continues into sleeping thoughts. To teach is to demonstrate. There are only two thought systems, and you demonstrate that you believe one or the other all the time. We are demonstrating what we believe all the time. Do I believe in the system of love and compassion and the Holy Spirit guiding me to be a miracle worker? Simply by shifting my consciousness? Or am I following the guidance of the ego thought system that tells me to judge, to hold a grudge, to carry an old companion of resentment? From your demonstration, others learn, and so do you. The question is not whether you will teach, for in that there is no choice. There's no choice. As you go through your day, you are who you are. You're being how you be. And if you're not going to do what Spirit tell you do, then you're going to be doing what ego tell you do. There was actually, I'm quoting from a song from Sweet Honey in the Rock. I'm going to do what Spirit tell me do. That's the decision. Am I going to do what Spirit tell me do? Or am I going to do what ego tell me do? The purpose of this course might be said to provide you the means of choosing what you want to teach on the basis of what you want to learn. You cannot give to someone else, but only to yourself. And this you learn through your teaching. Teaching is but a call to witness, to attest to what you believe. It is a method of conversion. This is not done by words. Any situation must be to you a chance to teach others what you are and what they are to you. No more than that, but also never any less. So just think about any day. Just any day, who you are, how you are in your day, whether you get up and put a uniform on, whether you go to work, or whether you interact with someone in the grocery store. Who you are and how you are is a demonstration of your belief system. Because if somebody says something to you that upsets you, and you speak rudely to them, you're teaching them what you believe. You believe that you've been attacked and that you have a right to counterattack. Holy Spirit is saying, actually in that opportunity, you have the opportunity to teach kindness and compassion. And when you teach kindness and compassion, you're showing your belief system in the way of being that is Spirit-driven, Spirit-led. So we're always teaching. And we're teaching ourselves too. Teaching is but a call to witness, to attest to what you believe in. The curriculum you set up is determined exclusively by what you think you are and what you believe the relationship of others is to you. In a formal teaching situation, these questions may be totally unrelated to what you think you're teaching. Right? I'm getting laughter from a former teacher because you know, right? In the formal way of teaching, it's a prescribed curriculum that has to do with thinking how you believe other people should think and what other people should learn. Whereas when you're being guided by Spirit, even if teaching is your profession, you can have teaching as a profession. I teach students. I know what they need to learn. But how I interact with them is another part of my teaching and another part of what they are learning from me. I have some of my former students here. It is the teaching underlying what you say that teaches you. It is the teaching underlying what you say that teaches you. I'll say that one more time. It is the teaching underlying what you say that teaches you. Teaching but reinforces what you believe about yourself. And again, when they're talking about teaching, they're not talking about standing in front of a board pointing out quantum physics or spelling bees. They're talking about how you show up in the world. That's the kind of teaching they're talking about. Just how you show up in the world. It is the fundamental purpose is to diminish self-doubt. This does not mean that the self you are trying to protect is real, but it does mean that the self you think is real is what you teach. This is inevitable. There is no escape. Let's go to paragraph 5. We're going to wrap it up here. Except for God's teachers, there would be little hope of salvation, for the world of sin would seem forever real. Now, don't forget that A Course in Miracles is using the word sin sort of tongue-in-cheek. What it means is that we would just continue making the same mistakes over and over and over again. It's not saying it in a condemnation way. It's saying if we don't make these changes within ourselves, if we don't take the time to be introspective and self-aware through self-inquiry, and we don't make the changes, then things will just continue as they were. So remember, A Course says a sin is a mistake in need of correction. That's all. A sin is a mistake in need of correction. So we have these opportunities to make the corrections. The self-deceiving must deceive, for we teach deception. The self-deceiving must deceive, for they teach deception. So as long as we're caught up in the illusionary world of judgment and upsets and good guys and bad guys and my team versus your team and my gang versus your gang, and as long as we're caught up in that, we're living in a world of deception, and we'll just continue perpetuating that. It says, this is a manual for the teachers of God. They are not perfect. Oh, good, thank you. I was waiting for that. All right, thank you. They are not perfect, or they would not be here. Yet it is their mission to become perfect, so they can teach perfection over and over in many, many ways until they've learned it. Now, again, playing with words, perfection in A Course in Miracles just means purification. Just purification. We're working on the purification of our minds. The purification of our minds means when I have a judgment and I recognize it and I say, you know what, I need to stop and I need to shift my thinking. That's the miracle. That's what the definition of a miracle is the shifting of our perception. So the perfection in this world, in this time, is relative and is not real. It's talking about purification. Purification of our minds, the purification of our intentions, and the purification of our behavior, our willingness to move into the next situation, whatever it is. And then it says, who are they? Who are these teachers? How are they chosen? What do they do? How can they work out their own salvation? This manual attempts to answer these questions. So we're going to take a question a week, maybe two. The manual for teacher is full of questions. I'll tell you what some of those questions are. Who are God's teachers? Who are their pupils? What are the levels of teaching? What are the characteristics? How is healing accomplished? Is healing certain? There are a total of 29 questions. So we'll be tackling them over the next few months in the manual for teachers. So if you don't have the FIP edition, you can probably just Google the Association for A Course in Miracles Manual for Teachers, and they have everything on there. The entire book is on there. Question? Tenzu is monitoring your questions, so if there's anything. All right. So we're in the very early stages of looking at our workbook questions. This is a very vulnerable time if you're new to A Course in Miracles. If you're doing the workbook for the first time, now some of us are doing it for the 30th year time and still finding new information. It's like, oh, I missed that for the last 29 years. Like we get what we need to get. So if you're reading it for the first time, it might be a little bit difficult for you if you don't have a community that's discussing the workbook lessons with you. So feel free to contact me at any time. I send out daily texts with lessons, quotes, songs. If you want to be on our daily text, you have to have WhatsApp. You have to let me know, and we can add you to the list. So we're continuing our journey into our sacred time together to be accountable to ourselves so that we can rise up and say, am I a teacher of God today? Do I feel worthy to be a teacher of God today? And if I don't feel worthy, I need to ask myself why. What do I need to forgive myself for? What is the past that I'm holding myself accountable to? I read something the other day where it said if somebody's talking to you about your past and they're giving you a hard time, you just got to say, look, you're talking to me as if you went to a house I no longer live in. And you want to rob that house. I don't live there anymore.
That's cool.
But
I love that.
Yeah. But we have to do that for ourselves too. We have to do that for ourselves too. We have to let ourselves off the hook of the past. We have to let ourselves off the hook of whatever self-condemnation we have hung ourselves on so that we can rise up and say, yes, I am going to be a teacher of God today. Yes, I am going to live up to my own expectations, my own standards, and the only way I can do that is if I forgive myself. So I can release this heavy burden that I've been carrying, the heavy burden of the past, whether it's resentment or anger or upset or self-condemnation. Let's release it today. Let's release it now. Let's take a nice deep breath together. Put our hands on our hearts. Here's my heart, Lord. Here's my heart. Here's my willingness to rise up. I may not be completely purified. I may not be perfect. I may have broken my vows, but I am willing to be a disciple of this lesson. This lesson being that I am a beloved child, and each one of us is a beloved child that is being asked to rise to the occasion, to join the great crusade of light, to be a light bearer, to be an instrument of peace, to be a compassionate responder to yourself and to others. Feel your heartbeat. Ask yourself what you believe of yourself right now. And if you don't believe that you are worthy of being a teacher of God, if you don't believe that you are forgiven of the mistakes, if you don't believe that you are precious and beloved, then take it to God for a second opinion. Take your opinion to a higher holy self for a second opinion. And I guarantee you that opinion will be one of love for you. So we're going to have a song tonight. It's another praise song. I had a praise song last week. And here's the thing. I keep getting in trouble with YouTube because apparently when I use certain types of videos, they infringe on copyrights. So I have to go through this editing process and cut the video out, or else they block me completely. So if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Rev Lori Cardona on YouTube, you might find that if you're watching some of these videos that I'll be like, oh, listen to this next song, and then there's no song. It's just the end prayer. So there's always a prayer that follows the song, so listen to the song. I don't think Facebook ever blocks it. Sometimes maybe they will, I don't know. So we don't know, so enjoy this song. And I don't know if it'll make it to YouTube, but at least it'll be here for you. It's another praise song, and we started a praise song last week. This is CeCe Winans, and I love her so much. But stay for the final prayer. Thank you.
Me all my days, I've been held in your hand. From the moment that I wake up till I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. 'Cause all my life you have been faithful, and all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire in darkest night. You are close like no other. I've known you as a father. I've known you as a friend, and I have lived in the goodness of God. Hey, 'cause all my life you have been faithful. Oh yes you have. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness
Okay, I didn't want that to end. I was just, wow. Here we go. Nice deep breath. Wow, that was beautiful. Let's take a deep breath. Give thanks for the goodness of God. Give thanks for one another. We end with this. You are the work of God, and His work is holy, lovable, and loving. This is how you must think of yourself in your heart, because this is what you are. Amen. Amen to that. Thank God for that. And thank God for you. See you in 2 weeks. God bless you.